Hello and welcome to our video tutorial on adverb phrases, which are essentially prepositional phrases that are used as adverbs in the sentence. This is just one in a series of different videos to introduce phrases and their function in a sentence. Before we get started today, we want to make sure that we understand that because they are prepositional phrases, your success with identifying whether a prepositional phrase is an adjective or an adverb phrase begins with your ability to find a prepositional phrase in a sentence. Because of that, you want to make sure that you're pretty comfortable finding prepositions in sentences and that you're able to identify prepositional phrases. As you can see, these are a couple of resources that you can find online with a quick Google search. You can do some, look up some YouTube videos, but you want to be able to find prepositional phrases pretty confidently in your sentence before you move on to start identifying or classifying whether they are adjective or adverb phrases. Also, because we're focusing on adverb phrases, we want to do a little bit of a review on the purpose or the function of an adverb in a sentence. So if you think back to what you learned in elementary school, you should remember that an adverb is a word, a modifying word, that describes or modifies a verb, adjective, or adverb in the sentence. In my experience as a teacher, adverbs tend to be a little bit tricky to find in a sentence. Sometimes one-word adverbs are a lot easier to find, but in terms of looking at what is it actually doing, what is its function in the sentence, sometimes that can cause students a little bit of a problem. So typically, when we're studying adjective and adverb phrases, I try to encourage kids to really identify and master if it's an adjective phrase, because the only other option is, if it's not an adjective phrase, it's an adverb phrase. And we'll check on that in just a bit. Also, because it's an adverb, you want to focus on the adverb questions. Adverbs can answer different questions in a sentence. In this case, we're going to be looking at the questions when, where, how, or sometimes called in what manner, why, or to what extent, or to what degree. So those are our adverb questions that they will answer. And also we'll be looking for phrases modifying verbs, adjectives, or other adverbs. Alright, as we move on, we're going to always start kind of with a definition of what we're looking at. So an adverb phrase is a prepositional phrase used as an adverb in the sentence. So again, we're going to start by looking for prepositional phrases in the sentence, and then we'll decide what word in the sentence it's describing. In sentence A, my brother and I found several wrapped presents under the tree on Christmas morning. First, we start by looking for prepositional phrases in the sentence. I can see one here, under the tree, and another one on Christmas morning. Now that I've found my prepositional phrases in the sentence, we want to start looking at what are they actually doing. What is the function of the phrase in the sentence? Under the tree, if we look at that a little bit more closely, under the tree is telling where we found the presents, and because it's telling where, that makes this an adverb phrase in the sentence. The second prepositional phrase is on Christmas morning, and on Christmas morning tells when we found that, and again, because it's telling when, which is an adverb question, that too is going to be an adverb phrase in the sentence. In sentence B, during the winter, my family often rents a cabin for a week. We're looking for prepositional phrases in the sentence. So we can see one here at the beginning of the sentence, and for a week here at the end of the sentence. When we start looking at their role in the sentence, what is the function of that prepositional phrase? During the winter is telling when we rent, and because it's telling when, it's also an adverb question. For a week, it's also telling when, or it's essentially telling how long. Sometimes you can look at that for an adverb too, how long or duration of time. We rent it for a week. I'm going to take a little side note and just kind of give you a helpful hint or trick. Anytime you see a prepositional phrase that appears at the beginning of the sentence and it's set off there by a comma, it's always going to be an adverb phrase. That's kind of an absolute rule. The reason the comma is that's just a grammatical structure kind of to show you that it's set off from the subject. But a good rule of thumb is if you have a prepositional phrase at the beginning of your sentence, it's almost always an adverb, so that might be helpful for you. So there are two examples. I sort of forgot to mention in this tutorial that because it's a tutorial, feel free to pause the video write down some notes. You can rewind, you can resume kind of at your pace or leisure, okay? Alright, if we look at two more sentences. Sentence C, thrilled with his second catch, Mercedes Lewis performed a dance in the end zone. Again, we're going to be looking for prepositional phrases, okay, with our list of prepositions. I see one here, and I see one right here. So again, when we look at them a little bit closer, with his second catch, like what is it doing in that sentence? It's describing the word thrilled, and in this sentence, thrilled is actually a word that describes Mercedes Lewis here, and because this is a noun, thrilled actually becomes an adjective, which makes this prepositional phrase describing an adjective, that turns that into an adverb. And it's explaining or expressing in what manner was he thrilled, or how was he thrilled. He was thrilled with his second catch. And the second one in that sentence is in the end zone, and that's actually telling us where he performed the dance, and where is an adverb question, so we want to understand that it's an adverb phrase in that sentence. And finally, sentence D, before the exam, write your name and period in pen at the top of your paper. So I'm looking for prepositional phrases here. Before the exam, in pen, at the top. And I'm actually going to switch gears or pause right now. I actually have a secondary prepositional phrase kind of right here in the sentence. So you could label that if you want, but I already know because I'm making the video that that's not going to be an adverb phrase, and we'll talk about that in just a minute. So before the exam is our first prepositional phrase. That's actually telling when we're going to write, and because it's telling when, it's an adverb. Also, you can see that it's at the beginning of the sentence, set off here by a comma, which again is going to indicate that it's an adverb phrase. In pen is explaining or expressing how you're going to write your name. You're going to write in pen, so that's an adverb phrase as well. And at the top is actually telling where you're going to write your name. So that's an adverb phrase as well. This is just kind of a little side note if you're interested. This prepositional phrase of your paper, it's not describing a verb, it's not describing an adjective, it's not describing an adverb, it's actually telling that it's describing top there. So because it's describing the top of what? The top of your paper, it makes it an adjective phrase. But you can watch a video tutorial on that if you need to. Alright, so that's pretty much it for the introduction or tutorial in adverb phrases. Here are a couple of sentences if you want to pause this and try them on your own. Again, you're looking first for the prepositional phrase, and then you're looking to see if you can identify what word in the sentence is being described or modified. You'd be looking for a verb, an adjective, or another adverb. And you're looking at questions when, where, in what manner, how, to what extent, why, how long. So you can pause the video here, give it a second. Alright, and here are actually the answers. You can see each sentence has multiple prepositional phrases, and I've drawn an arrow for you to the word that's actually being described. And just moving forward, try to understand that in most cases, sentences have a mix of adjective and adverb phrases. It's pretty rare to have a consistent sentence that only has adjective or adverb phrases here. But because for the purposes of this tutorial, here you go. Alright, until next time, that's it. Check out some of the other videos if you have a chance.